None of us liked waiting in ambush, primarily because we couldn't be wholly certain we weren't the ones being set up for a hot vape. The Invids, the pirate crews working with the ex-Imperial Star Destroyer Invidious, had so far eluded the best efforts of the New Republic to engage them. They seemed to know where we would be, when we would get there, and in what force, then planned their raids appropriately. As a result, we spent a lot of time doing battle damage assessments on their efforts, and they really pushed to give us plenty of BDA work. Rogue Squadron had gone to ground to wait on several of the larger asteroids in the Kavath system. This location put us in close proximity to Kavath 5's primary moon, Alakatha. We powered down our engines and had our sensors in passive mode, only to avoid detection by the folks we wanted to trap. According to our mission briefing, New Republic intelligence had gotten a tip they considered reliable that at least part of Leonia Taviria's pirate fleet would be hitting a luxury liner coming out of the resort coast on Alakatha's northern continent. Mirax and I had actually honeymooned there 3 years ago, before Thrawn turned the New Republic inside out. So I had fond memories of the place, and could well remember the wealth dripping in jewels and precious metals from the throats and hands of the New Republic's elite. I glanced at my X-Wing's chronometer. The Glitter Star is still on schedule? Whistler, nestled behind my cockpit, hooted with just a hint of derision in his voice. Yes, I know I told you to let me know if there was a change, and no, I didn't think it had slipped your circuits. I forced my gloved hands open, then rotated my wrists to get rid of some of the tension. I'm just anxious. He blatted a quick comment at me. Hey, just because patience is a virtue, that doesn't make impatience a vice. I sighed and turned the latter half of it into a piece of a Jedi breathing exercise Luke Skywalker had urged upon me when trying to recruit me as a Jedi. Breathing in through my nose to a count of 4, I held the breath for a 7 count, then exhaled in 8 beats. With each breath, I let more tension flow out of me. I sought the clarity of mind I'd need for the coming battle, if the Invids materialized. But it eluded me with the ease the Invids had shown in escaping the New Republic. Things kept seeming to happen fast. Mirax and I married fast, and while I did not at all regret having done so, events conspired to make our married life extremely difficult. Grand Admiral Thrawn and his antics ruined our first anniversary, and rescuing Jan Dodonna and the others who had once been imprisoned with me on the Lusankya had called me away during the second. And then the reborn Emperor's assault on Coruscant dropped a Star Destroyer on what had been our home. Neither of us were there at the time, which was standard operating procedure far too often. In fact, the only benefit of being assigned to go after the Invids was that their leader, ex-Moff Leonia Tavira, seemed to have a taste for a life of leisure. When her Invidious vanished between raids, we usually had a week of downtime before having to worry about another attack. Mirax and I put this free time to good use, rebuilding our home and our relationship. But with that came some consequences that I saw as incredibly disruptive, on the scale of Thrawn disruptive. Mirax decided she wanted children. I have nothing against kids, as long as they go home with their parents at the end of the day. Expressing this opinion in those terms to Mirax was not the smartest thing I had ever done, and in fact proved to be one of the more painful ones. The hurt and pain in her eyes haunted me for a long time. Deep down, I knew there would be no dissuading her, and I wasn't even sure in the end I wanted to. I did try, however, and employed most of the standard arguments to do so. This is an unsettled time in the galaxy ploy lost out to the fact that our parents had faced a similar choice, and we'd turned out pretty well. The uncertainty of my job argument wilted beneath the logic of my life insurance, and then withered away when Mirax gave me a glimpse at the account files, the real ones, for her import-export business. She pointed out that she could easily support the 3 or 4 of us, and I'd not have to work a single second, outside of caring for the children. And she noted that carrying a child for 9 full months meant she would already have 3.11 years of 40-hour weeks of childcare logged, and that I would owe her. Over and above all that, she said I'd make a great father. She noted that my father had done a great job with me. Having learned from him the skills of being a father, she just knew I'd be wonderful with kids. And using that argument, she turned the love and respect I had for my father around on me. She made it seem as if I was dishonoring his memory by not bringing children into the world. It was a most persuasive argument, as she knew it would be, and hammered me pretty hard. In retrospect, I should have given up at the start and saved the 2 of us a great deal of grief. She makes her living, a very good living, it turns out, convincing all sort of folks that junk no one else wants is absolutely vital to them. While she engaged me in logical discussions, focusing my defenses on that avenue of attack, she slipped past my guard on a purely emotional level. Little comments about what kind of child our genetic lottery would produce got me investing brain sweat in solving that puzzle. That went straight to the detective training in me, the training that wouldn't let me drop a case until I had an answer, which in this case meant a child. She also managed to flick on the HoloNet monitors when some event featuring news about Leia Organa Solo's 3-year-old twins was being shown. The children were frighteningly cute, and their very existence had been blamed for a baby binge in the New Republic. I knew Mirax was not so shallow as to be wanting a child out of envy or to be trendy, but she did note that she was Leia's age, and that it was a good time to have a child or 2. And that cuteness factor really can get under your skin. The New Republic media avoided showing the twins drooling and dripping the way children do, and they really maximized the appealing things about the toddlers. It got so that when I did remember dreams, they were of me cradling a sleeping child in my arms. Oddly enough, I stopped thinking of those dreams as nightmares pretty quickly, and did my best to preserve them in my mind. Realizing I was lost, I began to bargain for time. Mirax flat refused to accept fixed time dates, mainly because I was thinking in years.